Hi everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zurcher, and today I'm going to be doing cut work. If you haven't heard of cut work or haven't done it, you're in for such a treat. It is so much fun. And the thing about cut work is you can make any shape and cut out the center and then bind it and create some really lovely elements to your projects. So we're going to go over cut work. For my patrons, there will be an extended video, and I'm going to show you how to put a little mirror behind the cut work. So that's for my patrons, and as always, a special thank you to those of you who are my patrons. And for everyone else, enjoy the cut work. So let's get started. Don't forget to hit the like button, which is the thumbs up, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me comments. I love hearing from you. And let's get stitching. That's what I'm using, 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to put it over here. And I'm going to take my pencil, chalk if you have a darker fabric. For this, I'm using a lighter fabric, so I'm going to use my pencil. This is not going to show, so I'm not concerned about it. And then I'm going to take my thread, an 8-weight thread of some kind. And what I've got here is a House of Embroidery. It's just a white, let's see, 31C, 8-weight House of Embroidery. And I'm just going to put that on a chenille. 24 chenille. I've got my quilter's knot in the back, and now I'm doing a back stitch using an 8-weight pearl cotton. It doesn't matter what the color is, this is going to totally disappear. It's going to be completely covered. So I don't want it to be bright red, but white, even though the background is beige, it's fine. It's a thread I'm using for other parts of this piece, so it was there. I had it threaded, and that's fine. Go ahead and do that. I've got my back stitch. It's not perfect, and that's okay. And now I'm going to do a second back stitch parallel to this one, just a tiny bit out from it. And these are going to be my guides. You can do this in any shape. It doesn't have to be a circle. You want a leaf, or you want, oval, you want some organic shape, that's fine. You can do that. I'm doing it a round shape, a circle shape, because I'm actually going to be inserting a mirror behind the cutout. So I'm cutting this area out, and I'm putting a mirror in the back of it. That video is actually going to be for my patrons, so unless you're a patron, you won't see it, but I will show all of you who are watching how to do the cut work without the mirror. All right, so I've finished my 2 circles. So this one is on the pencil mark, and this one is just outside of it, right? I went ahead and ended my thread, and now I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to cut a little bit of the fabric, being really careful not to cut into my stitches. But I want to cut right along the edge. as close as I can. Right? Now I'm going to come in with the thread that I'm going to use to encase this. And what thread am I going to use? I think I'm going to use this one, which is my tattered parchment, just to give it a little something different. Putting this on an 18 chenille. This is an oriental linen. So I'm just going around with my oriental linen tattered parchment, and I'm just encasing this edge. And the one thing that I'm being aware of is that going around the outside, I'm giving myself a little bit of room between each stitch, because the inside is going to be super dense. So remember I said don't cut through the stitches? That's what happened there. I cut through the stitches. Definitely not the end of the world, but you want to try not to do that if you can. And I just keep going around, all the way around. Now the other way to do this is you do a buttonhole stitch around, and that way you get a little ridge on the inside, which is also nice. I like it this way. So even if you clip through, it's not the end of the world. You can still just keep going because you've got a double row of stitching. We did 2 rows of back stitch. Ideally you don't clip through, but if you do, I just keep going anyway. Now, the other thing is not to pull these stitches so tightly that it distorts. You pull them so that they're laying flat and they're even, but I don't pull them so tightly that the fabric's bunching. When I'm finished, which I am here, I'm going to pull my thread to the back, and so there's my little circle. I've got one little bit of linen sticking out. I'm going to push that down with the back of the needle, and I'm going to go in the back here, and I'm going to pick up a stitch right here, right? That's one of my back stitches in the white. I'm going to pick it up here so that it anchors in the right place, and then I'm going to go ahead and run my thread underneath all of these other stitches. You can knot it if you want, or you can just, do a couple of little stitches in here, right? And so there's my cut work. I don't worry about this. My pieces are so kind of organic looking. I'm not going for really perfect stitching here. So this sort of thing, it doesn't bother me. I'm just leaving it alone. If I wanted to, I guess I could come through here and put a stitch here and maybe do another one over here. But honestly, I don't know if that really helps or not. So you can tweak it if you feel like it. I tend not to. I tend to just leave it alone. Yeah, I mean, did that really help? Not really. Okay, so that's that. For those of you who want to know how to do a mirror behind, I'm going to do this for my patrons. So if you're on Patreon, I'm going to put that video for you and you'll see it. But for those of you on YouTube who aren't patrons, cut work is a really fun thing to learn how to do. And as I said before, you can also do this same stitch instead of just wrapping it. You can do it with a buttonhole stitch where there's going to be a ridge on the inside. And that can be quite pretty too. I tend not to. I tend to just do it wrapped like this. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was something that you found interesting and maybe gave you some ideas of how you might apply this technique to your work. As I said, you can also do it in all kinds of different shapes. Like a shape like this, you could certainly do, just draw freehand and go along with, and it would be the exact same concept. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, here's to stitching together.